Minus the eye. Yeah, for the nobody up front.
At the time of his arrest, he was in the possession of a firearm. He has been in the local jail since the arrest. He will be taken into custody by the FBI.
I'd like to say a personal thanks, as I know all Americans would, to the Oklahoma lawman whose vigilance led to the initial arrest of the suspect.
Meanwhile, in Michigan, FBI forces rushed to a Sanilac County home in search of another possible suspect or evidence connected with the bombing. As investigators do their work, rescue workers in Oklahoma City are pushing forward in the effort to find any possible survivors. The death toll has reached 57, but as time passes, officials believe the number of dead will continue to grow.
What they're doing with a real frenzy is to try and get into the pancake portion, but so far there are no signs of anything. I mean, all the monitoring and all of the dog activity has been fruitless.
Rescue officials say the search for victims is now centering on the front of the destroyed building where the blast took place. More than 100 people are still considered missing. Families of the missing say they feel helpless.
The worst part of it is we don't know if she's alive. We don't know what happened to her. We know she was there, but what happened to her, we don't know.
Police arrested the 24-year-old man in Southern California early Saturday on charges not related to the bombing.
The plate on the and giving false information to a police officer.
The FBI has found some pieces of the bomb that blew up the federal building last week. They're also starting to reconstruct the Ryder truck that carried the explosive. And of course, federal officials continue to investigate the recent activities of Timothy McVeigh, the bomb suspect already in custody. Meanwhile, exhausted rescue workers continue the painstakingly slow and dangerous process of recovering bodies. The workers have been at the job round the clock, and officials from fire rescue and the police department say the grueling operation is starting to take its toll.
Since it started, they've been on 12-hour shifts, 12 on and 12 off. We are rotating them one day off in there so that they can get some rest. Most of them we have to take the day off because they really don't want to do that.
The physical tiredness and the mental stress of going back in and seeing that same thing is, I don't want to say it's taking its toll because they're all still coming back in and working hard and doing their full 8 hours, but we are starting to see and starting to track the fact that those people are starting to wear thin.
Possible.
And we amputated her leg in the basement. It was a pretty tight situation, just even crawling back into the small spot she was in.
Part of our team is bringing out the fatalities. There's fatalities on the majority of the floors, and we're going to remove those people at this time. We have to get some of those bodies out of the way now so we can systematically go through our other rescue procedures.
We think in the outside debris outside, this is now turned. All the area you see above here was extremely unstable, and as the debris was still trembling and rocks still falling off as people were working in this area. This is the area that on the first day we called the cave. And what we're standing in right now is about 3 foot of rubble. So you're looking in, you're crawling downhill to go underneath these beams. Men were turning on their backs, taking off their helmets, sliding in. We had the first bomb scare. Myself and some of the people from Mutual Aid was back in there, and then we had to leave the area. They asked us not to leave them, and it was real trying on most of the men that were in this area. We had 3 survivors, and all 3 begged you. Nature.
The first thing I remember was the ceiling started falling. When it finally stopped and I stood up, there was eerie silence. The only thing I could hear was sirens. There was no crying, no moaning, no yelling, no, escaping pipes, nothing. It was just basically silence. And I thought for a second that I was the only one that survived in the whole floor.
But Jim Hargrave soon found other survivors inside the office of the Inspector General, including a man from several floors up.
When I walked out to look at what the situation was and pick the people up, I looked to the north and I could see where there normally would be rows of office, nothing but sky. The building was gone. I looked to my right and I saw my car across the parking lot and a bunch of cars burning. Then that's the first time I knew for sure it was a bomb.
Cars were burning. I didn't know what to think.
For Rick Bowles, it's hard to imagine now that this place that looks so tranquil today was 5 years ago a burning, smoking inferno. For Rick, it still echoes with the sound of an explosion that changed his life forever. On the morning of April 19, 1995, Rick found himself at Ground Zero. He raced here after hearing and feeling the blast at his nearby business. These pictures from the morning of the bombing show him carrying 2 injured children away from the scene.
I had a high school classmate that died in this.
Walking back up to the memorial site now, Rick thinks of the comfort it will provide.
I hope it brings some closure to the family and maybe some finality that they can help to heal.
The memorial speaks to different people in different ways. Sometimes it's the little things that hit home the most.
I think that probably says it all right there. The precious life that was lost. My son's dead. I think of my son. I think of his stuff.
Since the bombing, Rick has found it very difficult to even drive by this area. But now, with the memorial in place, it's a little easier, knowing the memorial is helping to heal and send a message.
People everywhere can relate to it because it can happen anywhere and at any time.
At least this way they'll never be forgotten.
The same foreboding about that day 5 years ago has kept IMSA paramedic Brent Kinsey from the bomb site as well. This is only his second time in 5 years to come back.
It's pretty.
Now, the view from the plaza area is much different, but still very powerful.
It's a lot of empty chairs.
Now, for people like Rick Bowles and Brent Kinsey, the memorial provides a sanctuary, a place where they can let go of some of the memories from that day that have plagued them and other rescue workers, a place to heal.
Probably some night in the middle of the night, about 2:30 or 3, when I can come down by myself and just kind of sit and take it all in, resolve some issues and say goodbye to some ghosts.